So, hello. We are here waiting for Radhikesh. Today we're gonna do the stream about Stockholm. Mhm. Mhm, mhm. Hmm. What's happening? Mhm.
Ah, there we
Oh,
go.
you finally. I
Finally.
I was thinking something went wrong with the system. How are you?
I am fine. How are you today?
We are good also. I'm so happy that we are here and then we can proceed with our streams. And I hope today we'll have some people joining us. I would like to start with maybe some news. I know that we have Sun moved into new nakshatra. What about?
Yes.
Can you just tell a few words? Just
Of course. Of course. Let's
Satabhisha, as I'm not mistaken. How you pronounce it properly?
no,
Satabhisha or Shatabhisha?
Satabisha. That's fine.
Satabhisha.
Absolutely
Okay,
fine.
Satabhisha.
Yeah, let's take a look at where we'll talk about all the planets and how they've moved
Oh,
today.
great.
Hold on a second.
Thank you so much. It is so interesting because, you know, lots of people are asking us about the energies which are happening in the universe and how do they influence our life.
Of
And
course. Of course. Yeah, let's talk about all of these different planets. So you have, many different nakshatras which are important. Nakshatras for people out there who don't know. Nakshatras are certain stars within the constellations. They actually all have correlated Western names. So anybody ever wants to know that, I can tell you exactly which star it is based on the, Western astronomy also. Uh, but all of these different nakshatras have a strong influence, just like the planet has an influence. The nakshatra adds another level of influence on what is going on for a particular person. So, like Satabisha nakshatra, Satabisha refers to like 100 physicians, like someone who can very logically explain things, someone who has wisdom and understanding, who can use their words to guide other people and give knowledge to others. So when the sun has an influence for Satabisha Nakshatra, especially in the sign of Aquarius, what it means is that you have the ability to guide others. If there's something you're trying to explain to somebody, if there's something you're trying to do, if there's some thing in your life that you're trying to achieve that is just not working out, this is a time in which you collaborate with others, you work with others, you can make it happen. Now, when Sun is in the previous sign, when it's in the sign of Capricorn, people try to push themselves and get this done and do it alone and think, I can do all of this. But in Satabisha, under Aquarius, people start to understand, okay, I need to work on this, but I need the help of others. So collaboration with others, explaining your viewpoint in the best way, and explaining it not from an emotional perspective, but very logically, sensibly, can give you very nice results. So Satabisha is a very good nakshatra for people to be, for the sun to be successful in. The sun, of course, as we know, represents our external nature. So from an external perspective, you can do well. Now, the moon is today in Ashlesha nakshatra. So when the moon is in Ashlesha, this is more of a, you know, more of a heavy influence. Ashlesha means a coiled snake. Okay, it means internally you may be more worried, you may be more fearful, but externally show strength, show your logical approach, explain to people what it is that you're trying to do, what it is you want out of your life. It may be that you have a problem with your partner. There's some goal you have in your life and your husband or wife is not understanding it. This is a good time, despite being, fearful or worried whether they'll understand or not. This is a good time to explain it to them and get results. It may be problems with your parents not letting you, do whatever job you want to do or go somewhere that you want to go. Explain things rationally without too much worry or fear and without emotion, and you can get those results. It could be, someone's applying for a certain job or they're in a business and they want to get a new contract, any of these things. You're trying to negotiate something. This is a very good time to make those negotiations. Despite being fearful inside, go forward, and that will give you much better results than you would receive otherwise. Now, the other planets we have right now, the sun and the moon are very important. We have Venus in Shravanam Nakshatra. Venus, of course, relates to wealth and opulence and comfort and, also relationship, okay, having a good relationship. Shravanam means the ear. So pay attention to what the other person is saying. Listen to what they're saying. So while you're explaining your viewpoint, don't ignore what they are saying and take some of that into account. So again, good for business, very good for relationships. As we're going to hear about the couple we talk about today, this is not what they did, but this is very good if you're having difficulties in your relationship or something's going on. Explain your viewpoint, but listen to what the other person says too. And those two together can give you very good benefit in that way. You have Jupiter in Bharani Nakshatra. Jupiter in Bharani Nakshatra is, Jupiter has an influence on the ninth house. So what does this mean? Bharani means finding your own way, sacrificing for others. Bharani refers to the womb, okay, internally. It means two things. It means keep your spiritual life in focus. Keep your spiritual life these next few days much more on your internal growth than your external growth, which means focus on whether if you chant or you meditate or you do some, bhakti yoga or any of these kind of things. Focus on the meditative portion of it. Focus on the chanting. Focus on being spiritual internally, doing some good things for other people in an anonymous way. Not about, oh, I did this good thing, people should know about it, or something extra. Keep it internal. And what happens, Jupiter is the guru planet, the planet of wisdom. It means if you do things internally, you do things for others, you serve others in this way, in a very anonymous or secret way, you will get great benefit from that. You will get spiritual realization, you'll get understanding, you will receive those rewards in a much deeper way as time goes on.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. This is so useful, and I hope, well, I am so grateful for sharing with us, and I hope that our listeners, viewers also will be happy to listen to hear this news, astrological news.
Well, I hope so. And if anybody out there has questions, they're always more than welcome to contact me, contact you, and we're always happy to answer any questions that people have related to their own astrological charts and things. And some of the prashnas we looked at for today are also quite interesting in that way also. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so many girls contacted me this time. So let's go to our heroes of the day, Johnny Depp and Amber.
Okay.
They had so interesting um, love story that ended finally for Johnny Depp nicely.
Yes, yes,
But it had, let's just please
sure.
share.
This is an example of two people who should never have been married, have never been together. This was a disaster from the beginning. When you look at both of these people's charts, now, all of this may not be out in the news. It may be what they know internally for themselves. But these are two people who are so intensely incompatible because there's too many similarities in the wrong places. Okay.
Mm.
One thing when anybody out there is looking for a partner is that you have to be, where one person is weak, the other can be strong. If you have bad qualities, the other person should have good qualities to balance that out in different places. For these two, um, everything kind of, all the timings happened in the wrong way. And that's why it didn't work out as well as it should have. So let's look. Let's look at these two. Uh, Very interesting people. Johnny Depp, born under the rising sign of Cancer. Sun
Mhm.
is in Taurus. Moon is in the sixth house. Um, Kind of heavy influences on him. What does the sign of Cancer do? It makes one, and they're both born under the rising sign of Cancer. It
Mhm.
makes you very, very sensitive. It makes you someone who needs, support of others emotionally to be the most successful. And it also makes you very much influenced by the people around you. So people like this, if they're around good people and supportive people, they can do very well.
Mhm.
If they're around negative people, they don't do as well. Now, Johnny Depp has 3 planets in the 11th house, and two of them, Venus and Mercury, are the planets of, creativity and being famous and having money and all of this. With the sun externally having all of these things. So he has that. He has the sun in Taurus, and the sun is in Taurus. It means you do what you want. You are not going to be forced to do anything. You're not going to be pushed into doing anything, especially, Taurus is the bull. If someone yells at somebody or tries to force a bull to do something, it's like waving a red flag in front of them. You're going to make it 100 times worse. And of course, where's Amber Heard in this way? Her sun is exalted with Rahu, okay, which
Mhm.
means she wants to tell everybody what to do. She doesn't want anybody to not listen to her. When the sun is in Aries, this is like a warrior energy. You give orders, people do what you tell them. And when you add Rahu to that, that enhances that 1,000 times. So you have two people, uh, everything she does is going to wave a red flag in front of him and make him angrier and more upset. So this is the first thing. When you look at these two people, the first thing you tell them is that, my dear friends, this is where your biggest issue is right now. You need to be able to talk. You need to be able to compromise. You need to be able to listen to each other. And you need to give emotional support to each other. If you both can do that, there can be success in this relationship. Unfortunately, both of them are not astrologically equipped in the right way to do that. Now, that can be helped. There's so much that can be done to help that. So, if you're aware of that, and perhaps other people out there have those same issues in their relationship, you know, I want things my way, he wants his way, we talk to each other, and we're just clashing. So this is one place, and this is to an extreme example with
Mhm.
Amber, that she just will not back down. And Rahu means whether she's wrong, whether she's lying, whether whatever it is that she needs to do to get to a certain place, she'll do it. Now Rahu means she recognizes that this is not going to help her, or she recognizes that this is negative, but she can't help it. Okay. So this is the first thing that you see between these two. You have two very warrior-like people, both who want to do things their own way, who don't want to back down, and they're trying to come back together. Okay? So this is the first thing. Johnny Depp, his moon is in the sixth house, which means, depression, anxiety, frustration, anger, all of these things. And his moon is influenced by Ketu and Saturn and Rahu and Mars and the Sun. All these malefic planets are influencing him. In addition to that, his fourth house, which is the house of the moon, and the fourth sign, which is a sign of the moon, the sign of the emotions, is influenced by many negative planets. So he has heavy negative mental afflictions to begin with. Amber Heard, her moon is in Virgo, okay? And there's a heavy influence of the 11th house. It means she wants things her way. She wants to live her life her own way, and she wants things exactly the way she wants. It means that if Johnny Depp or somebody else in her life did things 99% right for her, okay, and 1% was not done right, she's going to focus on the 1% that wasn't done right, not all the good things the person did. And this is something that happens in relationships where we don't appreciate each other. You know, say your husband tries to do something for you and he gets it somewhat right, not completely. If there's this strong moon Virgo energy, you're not going to appreciate the things that he's done well for you or the effort he's put into it. You're going to be like, well, he didn't do this or he didn't get this done, you know. So, and if he's someone of a very sensitive nature, then that is going to push him away, you know. So this is also very important. And this is both sides. If, you know, the wife is, you know, doing something very nicely for her husband and he doesn't appreciate it, well, same thing. If there's a strong Virgo perfectionist type energy, it affects not just the marital relationship, but it affects every other relationship that may be out there. So let's see what happened with these guys. You know, they met in 2012. They got married, I believe, in 2014, right around that time. So what happened to these two people? Amber Heard was in a Sadesati period right before she got, you know, met him, got married, all of that. And she came out of Sadesati around 2014 when they were together and in a serious relationship. At the end of 2014 is also when Johnny Depp entered his Sadesati. So he's going into, you know, Sadesati, for those of you out there who don't know, is the influence of Saturn around the moon. So when Saturn is influencing around the moon during Sadesati, it's a very heavy 7.5 year influence. It, you know, it comes every 26 years, but it can be, you know, Saturn brings karma. So this brings just, you know, more mental stress, more worry, more difficulty in a relationship, more problems, all of that type of thing. So she's entering out of her Sadesati. So you think, oh, that's good for her. And we'll talk about it because in her case it wasn't. But for Johnny Depp, they get together, but he's entering this very heavy mental period of his life. And we're looking at his chart, he's already kind of on the borderline mentally. And this makes it even harder. So his depression gets worse, his stress gets worse, his frustration and anger, his patience is less. He's less able to tolerate things with her. You know, so many things happen. And then all the karma that comes from all the legal issues they have afterwards that he's dealing with. So a lot of heavy things. And what happens for Amber is that her Saturn is in Virgotama, which means Saturn is in the same sign in the birth and the Navamsha chart. And what this does, it makes and this can be with any planet, okay? But what that does, it makes the effect of Saturn deeply stronger in her life. It means Saturn has more impact on her. And her Saturn, she goes from, you know, Sadesati, which is heavy for her, into Saturn in Scorpio. Okay? So Saturn in Scorpio transit plus Saturn in Scorpio in her birth chart. Okay? That combination plus being in Virgotama gives her, you know, Saturn in Scorpio means you only think of yourself. You become deeply selfish. Nothing else matters except what you need and what you want, and you'll do whatever it takes to get that. And unfortunately, when Scorpio is there, if you're around the wrong kind of people, it makes it even worse. Okay? So they get together. He goes into Sadesati, so he's dealing with a lot of heavy karma in his life. And she goes into this incredibly selfish energy that's focused only on achieving her goals or what she wants, or getting revenge, all of these things. Scorpio is a very vengeful energy. It means that if somebody criticizes you, somebody attacks you, somebody says something, you're going to be, you'll remember it and you'll do whatever you can to get revenge. So this is this heavy energy she went into. So it didn't get better for her. So then, when you have these two people, even though astrologically, if you did a, initial matching, they match 27 points. And if you just look at that one thing, you'll say, oh, perfect couple, they can get married. But if you really look deep, you can see that the timings were so bad, their personalities were so different, that this is a couple that it was not going to work unless they put so much effort and energy into it. And neither one of them had the bandwidth, so to speak, to put that energy into it. So this was something they would need to start beforehand, for years ahead of time. Say, look, let's talk about this. Let's communicate. Let's work on these things. So for any of you out there where these things are going on, a lot of these problems can be fixed. Part of it's like, you know what? Let me work on myself. Let my partner work on themselves, and let's work together to solve these particular things. Once you know what the problems are, you can work on them. And then with, Johny and Amber, if they knew these times were coming, they can do things ahead of time to prevent them. And then if they have the ability to simply be patient, get through. For Amber, I would say, look, you're entering this very heavy Saturn period. It's going to pull you in the wrong direction. And a lot of times when we're pulled in this direction, it's not that this is a bad person, but when you go through a bad period, you start doing things that you will look back later and be like, oh my God, why did I do that? Why was I thinking about that? So maybe so many people out there, you're in a relationship, you get into a fight with your wife or with your husband, and then you look back, a day later or a week later or a month later or a year later, and you're like, why did I do that? Why did I behave like that? Why couldn't I have done this? And this is all planetary influences. Because if we look back at it, then we see that we're a different person now. And the only thing that's changed is that the planets have moved. So they have such a profound effect. So this is there for everyone, that you can make these changes and you can adjust, your relationship. You can make it better as long as both people are willing to work together to do these things. So even this relationship, what I would have told them is that, look, you're going to be in a relationship, work on this Saturn energy. Let's do something for Saturn for you. Let's get you a gemstone for Saturn. Let's do some meditation for Saturn's energy. Let's work on you internally. This karma is coming. Let's see how we flow through it. So if you know that, okay, I'm going to go through this period for about a year, that's going to be difficult, and you know it's coming, then you can prepare for it, and then you get through that, you move on. A lot of times, and most of the time, these are like big storms that come into our life. They last for a little while, but then what do? They go away. So if we know this is when the storm is going to begin, this is when the storm is going to end, this is the different things that it can do, well, then you protect yourself. You keep an umbrella, you stay in the house, you don't let the lightning strike you, you don't climb up a tree and try to jump up, into the storm. So you do things to protect yourself. You don't make it worse. And you can get through all of these difficulties. Very few relationships can not do well as long as you're aware of these things. And this is something, I talk to people about every single day, and you can not just save relationships that are difficult, but even relationships that are doing really well. You can make them so much better. So you're both so much happier if you just kind of understand each other's nature a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is, to know, this is the thing that if you know it, you can live much more consciousness, right? Much
Absolutely.
more
You will be much
understanding.
happier in
Yeah,
every
exactly.
aspect of your life, because for all of you out there, one very important thing to remember is that the universe is with you. The universe
Exactly.
wants you to be happy.
Mhm.
Okay? And at every step of your journey in this life, the universe is, you bring karma, but the way you deal with that karma is going to change your entire consciousness. So you can be, you know, happy and joyful all the time, despite whatever those external circumstances are. Just if you understand just to some degree that there's a universal energy that is helping you become happier and happier at every step in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, everybody around us, they are our teachers who are
Yes.
trying to make us a little bit more advanced.
Exactly. Everybody is trying to help us. Every relationship can help us. Be careful when, always look at your astrological influences because these will move your mind in different
Hmm.
directions. Like we think we have so much free will. We have some degree, but not as much as you may think. So it's important to just keep these things in mind and keep the idea that there is a universal energy trying to help you become happier, not just in some, spiritual, religious way, but no, in your job, in your family life, in your health, in your relationship with your children, in your relationship with your parents and with your friends. You're meant to be happy in every single way, but it's
Hmm.
just learning what the different things you need to do are to be happy in those relationships.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing and to remind us about this reality. So let's
Of
proceed
course.
further. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Let's look at these. So you want to look at the prashnas that we talked about?
Or couple. Did you check that couple details?
Yes, yes. I did
Let's go
couple. I did check
then.
all of
Let's
them.
finish with the prashna and let's then. So I will explain what is happening next. We
Okay.
have received the details from another couple. They are our viewers, and they have now some difficulties in their relationships, as I understood, and they just are ready to listen what to do, what is happening, what are their perspectives, and what they can do to make their relationships better, closer, and so
Okay.
on.
Okay. I won't give the names, but
Of
we'll
course,
just
yeah.
say young man and young lady here. One thing I wanted to ask them if they're listening is that did they just get married about 3 or 4 years
No,
ago, like 2020?
they
When did they
they
get
are
married?
they are long time together, as I
Okay.
remember, and they
Okay.
already have a daughter.
Okay. Perfect. So two things here. Okay. I think they're both very beautiful, very wonderful people. Okay. Both of you. Um, this relationship, I can tell you why it's not doing well, and I can tell you very easily how to fix this. Okay. So both of you can do well. So let's start with the husband, young man. Okay. Dynamic, energetic person, very strong, very responsible person, wants to do things the right way. He does not understand his wife's nature. Okay, she is she has a little bit more stress, a little bit more anxiety in her life. Um, she's someone who wants things done a certain way in her life. She has her standards and expectations of how she wants things done. And she has a lot of anxiety and worry over things. Okay. Um, and this is for many different reasons that we can talk about. But if, she's listening, there's a lot of internal old trauma that's going on. There's a lot of things you're keeping inside that you're not sharing. Okay. And this has created a lot of low self esteem, a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety. And the way you're responding to it is that you're trying to control things very tightly. Okay. And this is affecting not just your relationship with your husband, but many other relationships you have out there. So, what happens is that, as we were talking about with Johny and Amber, you want things done a certain way to a certain standard in your life. Your husband is not always able to do that. Okay? And this is what's causing the frustration. Your husband is very direct. If he has to say something, he's just going to come out and say it. He feels confident about himself, and he doesn't understand why you don't feel the same way about yourself. So he's a little too direct and a little too abrupt in his speaking with you and with others. And he thinks that's okay, that's the way it should be done. But for you, that doesn't work. His way of speaking affects you in a very negative way. Why? Because you have a very Scorpio energy. His words come across to you as a criticism or an attack or something negative when they're not meant to be that way. So the best things the two of you can do is, Mr. Husband, young man, be more gentle in the way you speak to her. Understand that she is not as secure or confident as it may appear to you externally. There's a lot more anxiety and worry and indecisiveness in her heart. And you have to understand that and be very gentle in the way you speak to her. Mrs. Wife, you have a very sweet and gentle nature. Your husband is good. He's trying to do the best for you. The wife is good. She's trying to do the best for him. Um, Understand that nature of your wife and respond to it in a more gentle way. And for you, young lady, it's important to understand that he's more of a warrior energy. When he says things, they're not meant to be negative. He's simply talking, he's sharing things. And if he does something for you, he's going to do it as best he can, but it may not end up being perfect. Be grateful and appreciative of the things that he has done and he does do. And, if he does things 90% right and 10% not right, focus on the 90% that he's done that's good and beneficial and helpful for you. And when there's appreciation from your side and there's a little more understanding of the emotional nature of his wife from the husband, then this can do much better. Okay. Um, Husband is currently in a Saturn Rahu period. It means that, he's too direct. He's taking the same energy he uses in his work and trying to apply it to his home life. Don't do that. That never works. Okay. Um, in your work, you will be successful. Okay. But in your home life, it requires a different set of skills when you're dealing with your wife and her nature. So be more gentle in that way. He will learn. Okay. Once he goes into Mercury at 44, things get much better. But, start working on that now. You have the ability to do it. And for this young lady, you're in your Jupiter period. You you're overthinking things too much. You're worrying about things too much. You'll, think about things 100 times. You may not be able to fall asleep because you're overthinking things too much. Try to let that go as much as you can. If they contact me, there's things definitely astrologically we can do to pacify these negative planetary influences. And if you do that, things will improve. But it's important for this girl to make sure that she talks about the things that are going on deeper. There's deeper issues going on here that will require for her some understanding because there's a lot of low self-esteem, there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of anxiety, but all of that, once you shine a light in these dark places, things do get better. Okay?
Lovely. I hope that it will be useful for them, and I will come back with you with their feedback. Yeah, because it is
Yes.
also interesting to know what was their reaction, and I will share with you next time. We'll
Sounds
start
good.
with that.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. And
So
then
let's.
we had two
Yeah.
other prashnas I
Yeah.
wanted to look at. Both were very interesting, Let me,
Yeah.
these were both related to marriage.
Yeah. And
Okay.
they actually were asked the same day, but different times and different
Yes,
cities.
yes. So the first one asked from Riga,
Yeah.
will I get married? So my answer to you is, number one, I don't think you're ready to get, yes, you can get married. I don't think you're ready. I don't think you want to get married. I think there's a lot you're not sure about this. You're being kind of pushed or forced or put in a certain direction to get married by your family, your friends, the other people around you. So what I will say to you, yes, you can get married. Don't do it. Wait until you're much more sure. Wait until you are ready. You're being influenced by people around you when in your heart you're much more uncertain about this. So please wait. You can, but I would recommend you wait, become more settled and stable in your own life, and do it when you're ready, not being forced to by other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's the first question. She can, but she should wait. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second one we had from London. You should get married. You will be very happy in your marriage. Your relationship will be good. Okay. Uh, Venus is influencing the seventh house. Venus is influencing the fourth house and the 11th house. That means there's peace in the mind. There's good relationship. There's gain and success in this relationship. So all these things are there. To you. And when the moon is in its own sign, it means you feel happy and satisfied with this person. The only thing I would watch out for is that perhaps he doesn't have, and I assume this is a girl who's asking, I actually don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a go.
that he may not have as much money or wealth or education as you are considering, but you will be happy in this relationship. Okay. Um, so no worries for
Yeah.
the second one.
Sorry to interrupt you. They were asking this year. What do you think about this moment this year?
Oh, this
Or
for this couple in this
yeah.
London girl. Oh no, this year is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. You would have to find the most auspicious time. You need a birth chart,
Mhm.
okay, to
Yeah,
determine
sure.
what's the most auspicious time for that person. But yes, in general, remember, prashna looks microscopically at one moment in time. And the answer I can give you is yes, this is a good time to get married for you. So this year, yes, no
I
problem.
see. Okay,
So I
great.
think both of these good results, okay, from this prashna for this person to be married. If she has somebody, it's good. Venus, and Jupiter. The Venus is
Mhm.
marriage in general,
Mm.
is in a very good place. The seventh house.
And what
Jupiter
about?
is good.
Oh, sorry, sorry,
No,
sorry.
no, I said Jupiter in her chart is also in a very good position. So
I'm just wondering. You said if she has a boyfriend, but if she doesn't, that means that she definitely will meet somebody.
it means that she will meet somebody. It means that she should put the energy out there, to meet somebody, and the person will come by. This
Mm-hmm.
happens a lot where people are like, people come to me like, oh my God, I'm 33 years old and I can't get married. I haven't found anybody. And, sure enough, they're in some Saturn or Rahu energy and nothing's happening. But then as soon as they transit into a better planetary influence, things just fall into place. And I tell them, look, if you'd come to me 10 years ago, I would have told you during this time of a Saturn or Rahu or Mars, whatever influence it is, that it may not happen, but be patient. It will happen. So that way they're trying, but they don't get frustrated when things don't work out. And if, they're like, no, I have to get married in the next 5 years. I don't want to wait till I'm, 35 years old. Then I'm like, fine, let's do these things, reduce the energies that we're dealing with. One important thing for everybody out there to remember is that you are fully empowered to make these changes in your life. Astrology is not written in stone because there's a path you're going to, but then if your astrology is like a map, if you look at a map and your life is going down a certain direction and you're like, hey, I don't want to go in that way, well, we can change the map. There's things you can do that you can change the direction things are going. So you are fully empowered to make changes. Don't think that, okay, this is what my astrology says. It has to be that way. It may be that way, but if you do certain things, you can change it. You're fully empowered to make those changes. And that's very important to remember. The entire universe, all these planets, everything is helping you to evolve spiritually. Everything is helping you to become happier. Use all these different tools to make your life easier and happier. There's enough struggles out there. We don't need to make it more than it has to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Great. So we have everything discussed, right? What you had for now?
Yes, I think everything important. Let me take a look. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, one other thing about Amber and Johnny Depp is that, she went into, when all their legal issues started, she went into this heavy, weak Jupiter energy. Jupiter rents a lawyer and legal issues. Very weak Jupiter energy in her life that, she was going to lose these legal cases or not have much standing and all of that. And unfortunately, that's what happens. And she's in that Jupiter energy for some time. Unfortunately, the Jupiter is influencing the 12th house. Jupiter is a 16-year period, and she's been it for 6 years. So she's got 10 more years till 2034 of this Jupiter energy that she has to deal with. So, it's going to be challenging. But again, there's things you can do to help that along. But this is more of a heavy energy for Johnny Depp. He's going into a different influence. It's still Jupiter, but he has a ninth house Jupiter influence. Things are going to, fall back into place for him. And I don't know what his current, movies or anything like that is, but I think things are going to fall much more into place for him in the next few years and be more settled and stable than it is for her.
Great, interesting. Let's see
Yes,
how
yes,
their life will go.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'm super grateful for this stream. I wish as more people, I wish this video could see lots of people because I really feel that this is so useful and you are the treasure and everybody have to know has to know that in this world there are so really wonderful astrologers who can advise really nice things that can improve their lives. So let's proceed and let's meet in 2 weeks
Sounds good.
again. We'll check another couple. I will also ask the audience how do they feel about our discussing the celebrities. Maybe we can, try to change something. We'll are absolutely free to talk about whatever you like. First of all, our audience. So thank you so much and see you soon.
Of course. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye. Cheers.